What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, or welcome back to a live show after a very, quiet week again, quiet weekend. Nothing really happened besides what we're going to talk about in a second, where we are getting linked with basically buying the entire Marseille squad at this point. But it's more than buying a Marseille squad. It's about probably the media having the lack of news to suggest what the club is really going to do at this moment in time, being as a club this window. But before we get into it, as always, hit the like button, um subscribe to the channel, and let's talk about it. It's it's frustrating. This window has been frustrating, and I want to say it's just started, and actually it's only 2 weeks in, but we only have 1 month and a half of the window still left, and it's very obvious right now that we're going into a direction that's not going to satisfy fans. Even though you can be realistic and you can say, well, we're not going to do everything we wanted to do this window. We're not going to change 20 players and whatever, or like 15 players or 10 players and bring in 10 new players. But it's moving extremely slow. It's moving so slow to a point where we are doing very weird business, which I think everybody's looking at. And it's like, really? For example, the Alberto Costa news, for example, because Matteo Moretto spoke, and the tweet was out there. I think somebody posted the news. I forgot who it was, which account it was. But the news was out there, and I couldn't believe it. So I went to listen to it, what Matteo Moretto had to say on the Alberto Costa's thing, because I couldn't believe the tweet. So we are close to selling Alberto Costa, and this is not even about selling the player. This is about how we're gonna sell him. We're gonna sell him. We paid around 30 million euros for him, and we gave Guimaraes a 5% on the future resale, 5 or 10%. I think it was 5%. We're selling him for we want around 80 million euros for Alberto Costa, but we still need to pay 5% of that to Victoria Guimaraes. We're making basically nothing on that. We're making peanuts. If we make money on the Alberto Costa deal, it's peanuts. Which worried me about the news was that Matteo Moretto said, well, we need to sell. Do we need a couple of millions? Like, it cannot be that bad that we need 2-3 million of profit to close the Conceição deal, or to close the Jadon Sancho deal, to close any type of deal. That cannot be the case. That cannot be. If that's the case, that we need 2-3 million euros to actually make a real signing, not a free agent, just a real signing, then we are in a very bad position. So I'm gonna ignore that part of the news because I don't want to believe it, because we cannot be in that position as a club. How bad it has been, like the last couple of seasons, you cannot be haggling about 2-3 million. That cannot be the case. Like, I'm sorry, no club can be in that bad of a financial situation. That cannot be the case. So I'm gonna ignore that fact. That cannot be the case. But what does worry me is that the money, like, we cannot sell players. I don't care that Alberto Costa wants to go to Portugal. That's good for you, buddy. But you're on the contract, so the club cannot undersell. 80 million euros is cheap. I think it's cheap. Whatever you think about Alberto Costa as a player, it's extremely cheap. It's very cheap, So that being said, when that news came out, the first thought I was like, man, you're going to need to back up him and Timothy Weah. Like, you're going to need to do much more. So that made the news of, we needed those 2-3 millions to make any deal happen, doesn't really make any type of sense when you actually need two players, because you're moving out two players. The suggestion of Giovanni Albanese saying, actually, we can keep Timothy Weah must be complete bullshit. It must, because you cannot do that if you're a serious club after what you just did to Timothy Weah, leaving him out of the squad and whatever, and basically forcing him to sign with Nottingham Forest. Excuse me. You cannot bring him back. Like, that could just not be the case. That just sums up what you're trying to do as a club. Right now, it's moving so slow. It's moving slow. The news is moving slow, probably because that's it. That's it, probably because that's who we are as a club right now. That's how we're moving. And that's nothing to do with having a sporting director or not at this stage. It's just the decisions we're making, what they think about the squad, what's good enough, what's not good enough, etc. So the Alberto Costa thing is straight up bullshit. Not about the player, but the deal we're trying to do is just like it's not worth the trouble at this point. Like you need to replace him, and the money you're getting is not really anything special, if that makes any sense. Like it's not that you're making some insane profit for a player that you don't really trust, and you're like, you know what, we can invest that massive profit onto the transfer market. That's not been the case. You're making peanuts. You're making less than if you flip like Rugani at this stage. You're making the same amount of money. I'm assuming. Like that's how weird that Alberto Costa transfer is. But that's the only transfer that's actually very close right now. We need to sell, obviously, but we have 1 month and a half. It's not about panic. It's about being realistic right now. We only have 1 month and a half left on the window. Unless the club is looking at it saying we actually need only 2, 3 signings, then they have plenty of time. They buy Jadon Sancho, maybe they buy Conceição, they buy Colomani, they add one more piece, maybe. Well, I would agree with the club. You have a month and a half for 4 signings, but we're all assuming that cannot be the case. I think you need 2 players on the left, on the right. If you move on Timothy Weah and Alberto Costa, you need a center back. You probably need a midfielder because you're pushing out Douglas Luiz and McKennie and Nico Gonzalez by the news, if going off the news. So that cannot be the case. Are you going to do all of that in 1 month and a half? And other clubs, preseason kicked off for other clubs. Milan, yes, it didn't play in the Club World Cup, so that makes sense. But a month from now, I think, a month from now, the 10th of August, I think, would have played our first and only preseason game against Dortmund. So a month from now, does anyone has a feeling things are going to really change? Not really, I guess. And that for me is a massive problem. So it's an important week. Something needs to happen. Ingoing, outgoing, something needs to happen. Even in Serie B, we had Del Piero, Trezeguet, Nefe, Buffon, Chiellini, and Cabronesi. Now pretty much no team and no cash. I actually watched a documentary. I watched an interview of Del Piero talking about the Serie B period, and I actually miss playing Rimini away. I actually do at this moment in time. That gave me more joy than watching this team. I'm all for buying league talents. In my opinion, it's the best league for finding some gems, but Comolli is only targeting scrubs. Only exception is Balerdi. I don't know what Comolli is targeting in the Ligue. I don't believe the rumors when it comes to. I do believe we're interested in Ligue 1 players. That's a different thing. I don't believe we are linked with. I'm gonna say at least 10 players of the Ligue 1 we've been linked with. Somebody help me. I'm gonna say 8 to 10 players we've been linked with coming from the Ligue 1. That's not realistic. I don't think Comolli is looking actually at 10 players of the Ligue. That's just the media running with it. That's why the title Marseille. We're linked with half the Marseille squad at this moment in time. Like it looks for. Remember was it last summer? No, it was the summer before that when we were linked with doing 3 to 4 deals with Galatasaray. Remember that period? That's the same vibe. Only right now the link is Comolli. He was in France, and we got Modeste right now, and he's French, and Tudor coached Marseille. So we're gonna link them with Marseille players or French players, Ligue 1 players. I must say, it's easy. It's easy news, but it's not realistic. I don't think we're gonna sign any Marseille player at this moment in time. They made it very clear they're not gonna sign Balerdi, and that's it. There are no other Marseille players, so the media can throw other names in there every single day. It's just not realistic. That's not what we're trying to do as a club. Trying to sign 3, 4 players from the league. I have no issue with that. I don't care which league a player comes. I'm not one of those people saying, "Oh, but he did it in the Belgian league. It's only the Dutch league. It's only the Portuguese." I do not care. If you're good enough, you're good enough. If you fail coming to the club, it has nothing to do with the league you came about. It has to do with your qualities or your mindset. That's one. That's how I'm looking at these players. I don't care if they can come from the Swedish second division. If you're a baller, you're a baller, period. And I can deal with it, So I'm not one of those people saying, oh, it's from the Belgian league or it's that type of league. But obviously, you need to be quality. And that has nothing to do with the league. You just need to have quality, period. So all these links right now make no sense. They make no sense. You don't need news to tell us, bro. It's obvious. There will probably be a sell-on clause in the Sporting contract. You would think, but I'm gonna say probably not. Knowing the club, probably not. Knowing Sporting, probably not. Of course, as a part of a swap, then gets Yulman. I'll be fine. It's not part of the squad. He will be a class signing. He's actually very, very good. I like him. I like him a lot. But my thing is, then are you gonna move Locatelli? He's very similar to Locatelli, in my opinion, or not similar, but like you're not going to add something you didn't have already in the squad, if that makes sense, But I like him. I've said it many times on camera. I think he's a class player. I really do. I think he can be a top midfielder, but we're not going to get him because the money Sporting won, we're not going to pay it. That we just need to accept. And just Chelsea just won the Club World Cup. That's insane. I know they got an easy run, but yeah, they were just a better team today. So yeah, insane. They actually won it. Do we have money to get Colomani? Well, going off the news that we're trying to sign him on a loan deal, I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no. I need to base it on that type of news, and I'm gonna say no. Like based on that, we don't really have the money. The idea is to get 35 from Costa and Weah and use it on Dodo, 30 plus 5 on a guy like Klose or Marco from Atalanta. Yeah, the close one is sad, and the Dodo one makes me actually want to cry. If we pay 30 plus 5 for Dodo, I'm actually done with this club, and I probably will stop doing a stream. Like I'm not gonna sit here and comment the Dodo signing because that's just ridiculous. At this point, that's ridiculous. The Dodo, like paying 30 million. I know they want 30 million for Dodo. That's crazy. Like, he offers nothing special. Like, is he a decent player? Yeah, but like 35 million for those type of players. How many times are we going to do this over and over again? So absolutely no, that cannot be the case with the Dodo one. It's looking like David will be the main striker. I refuse to believe that, Alex. Right now, it seems like that, but I refuse to believe that. That cannot be the case. My brother used to play in the Swedish second division. Well, good for it. I like. Maybe we should be looking more at the Swedish second division. I just saw Luis Enrique slapping Pedro, and now it's all kicking off. That's weird. Let me see. Marseille might not want to sell Balerdi, but he could try to make it known he wants to move on. Players have yeah, I agree. Like players have the power. I do agree, but he's the captain of the team. I don't see that happening. And to be honest, if I'm a fan of a club, I don't want to see my captain doing that as well. That's crazy. But I do agree, players have the power. But I don't think there are any reports suggesting that that he wants to leave Marseille as well. Actually, the report is suggesting that he wants to stay at Marseille. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think he's gonna force it. And to be honest, I don't know how many people in the chat watch Balerdi because I haven't really, So I cannot even say that's a player we should be pushing on without any doubt and maybe overspend a little bit because I have no issue with overspending for a player a little bit if that player is pure quality and you need to get it over the line, then it's fine. It is what it is because he's going to be worth double the amount you overspend basically. But when it comes to Balerdi, I have no idea. If Marseille is like, yeah, we let him go, but you need to pay 45, should we be paying 45? I do not know his qualities enough to say, yeah, that's it. I actually cannot believe Chelsea won it. Have they ever lost a European final? And this is not a European final, but you know what I mean. That's actually insane. Have Chelsea actually lost a final? I just read they're the only club, obviously, to win all the trophies, but they play Conference League. You don't want to play. Oh, against Manu in 28 and 08. You're right. You're right. But that's probably the only one. It's ridiculous. That's proper heritage in Europe. Like where you cannot say anything about it. When they play finals, they win or they take it seriously. So they did lose in 08. Forgot about that one. But still, that's only one. It's ridiculous. If you compare that to us, yeah, sad, sad. Um, let's hope we never see this joke of a competition again. Oh, you talk about the Club World Cup. We will see it. I don't think it's gonna last forever, but we will probably see it the following, the next 4 years. Gutierrez is 2025, and they can just move Cambiasso to the right. Again, I don't know much about Gutierrez as well, but again, if you move out Timothy Weah, who's actually not really a wing back, and Alberto Costa, you can move Cambiasso to the right, but you still need backups. And what are you going to do at that stage? Because one of those options is going to be Kostic. It cannot be Kostic, but right now, one of the wingback options is going to be Kostic. It's insane, but that's the case. So have you improved if you move out Timothy Weah? Let's say you move out Timothy Weah and Alberto Costa, but you bring in, you move Cambiasso to the right, but you also have Kostic as a backup, probably on the left. Like, you haven't really improved, actually. The moment you keep Kostic, you don't improve. No matter what you do in the window, you don't improve as a team. It's impossible to improve as a team. We have zero money, so why don't we go after Laporte and Xhaka? Both linked with a transfer and both experienced players, and gives us something new and needed. They will cost you some money, not a lot of money, but I've read that Xhaka has offers from the Saudi league, so that's it. That's there. And Laporte's wages are pretty high as well. So yeah, I have no issue with Laporte. Looking at all the options we have and all the links there are out there, I have absolutely no issue with getting linked to Laporte or trying to sign Laporte, because it's that bad. It's just that bad at the back. We cannot go into a season with this back line. It's impossible. It's just impossible. I watched PSG and they miss Pacho, who played in the Belgium league, by the way. For all the people saying, oh, it's a Belgium league, played in the Belgium league, Pacho. And it's insane how much they miss one player. Imagine banking your hope on Bremer. We've seen how our backline looks without Bremer. Like, you cannot go into a season hoping Bremer stays fit, because the moment it doesn't happen and he's not fit, you get what you've got against Man City, who are not even fantastic right now, but they just pick you apart because we cannot defend. We cannot defend. These Marseille fans are crazy. There's zero chance Balerdi will come out and say he wants to come to us and push for it. Yeah, it's not going to happen. Marseille isn't in a position to keep their best player at all costs. They have money. But again, like, he doesn't want to leave. He's not pushing for a move. So they are in that position right now. Seeing Kostic in a Juve jersey is like a recurring nightmare. Yeah, it's actually insane. Chelsea have been owned by Abramovich with unlimited funds and now unlimited hedge money from the US. Yeah, I get it. But still, like, back in the days, we, Italian league, had all the money and we still couldn't win those Champions League finals. So again, at the end of the day, it's DNA. They spent money, Chelsea. But does anyone really rate that squad that highly? No, but they won it, So when they play a final, they show up. It's their DNA. It's the DNA of the club, and fair play. Another link to player, but same old players problems. Feels like these are just distractions from the real issue. Two proper defenders, and the Dusan debacle getting resolved without massive losses. Yeah, the Vlahovic story is I don't know what it is. Like, I have actually no idea what to say on the Vlahovic thing right now, because I've seen a report saying his agents are not traveling to Italy and that until they get some clarity. I'm like, shouldn't you travel to Italy to talk with the club to get some clarity? Like, even the reports are odd. They're not going to travel to meet with the club because they want some clarity. I mean, you should meet with the club to get some clarity, right? Like, I don't know. I don't think anyone really knows with that Vlahovic one. The positive thing the club has, if you call them positive, it's not real preseason. let's say we didn't have the Club World Cup. That means we would start a preseason by now, and these players were all back. Vlahovic, and that would be extremely awkward. That would be extremely awkward as a club, where it's like, now you have Vlahovic back. You're in a situation where we don't want you. We're actually trying, quote unquote, to pay not to have you at the club right now. And here we are in preseason kicking the ball around. That happened last season, you know. Um, Sorry, I was trying to see if there was any news, but there's not. It pisses me off how we can't win a single international or European trophy, not even this century. Um, yeah. Italian bloggers now saying Vlahovic costs Juve 80, 90 million, all said and done. Ronaldo signed for 170. Yeah, but Ronaldo also had 20 million euros in wages. So that's you need to keep that in mind. We have 2 wins in 9 Champions League finals. Chelsea has as many wins in 3 finals. Shit like this keeps me up at night. Yeah, it does. Actually, not like I agree. Like those are the things when I'm awake and I cannot fall asleep. Those are the things I think about. I'm like, we lost 7. Like actually 7. I can recall 3 of them vividly. Obviously, like the one against Barcelona, I knew what it was. Against Real Madrid, I was in Torino on that square where that nightmare happened, literally. And against Milan, I remember the shootouts, So yeah, Champions League finals, it's a disaster. It's a disaster for us. It will be awkward if Vlahovic is at the preseason. It will be awkward. It's a situation you need to resolve before preseason. It's like, and that's not just him. That's for all the players you're trying to move out. That's when Giovanni Albanese comes out and he said, if we sell Alberto Costa, Timothy Weah can stay. No, he cannot. Like, you cannot keep Timothy Weah at this moment in time. Like, it's impossible. His agent came out and he called out the club. You cannot do that. That's ridiculous. That's actually insane. And what makes it worse, if Timothy Weah actually stays, that makes it even that makes it even more sad, excuse me, because you have a player and an agent calling out the club, and then they're like, you know what, we're gonna stay. That's insane. That's like your boss telling you, I'm gonna sack you. In about a week, it's done. And then after a week, it's like, you know what? I'm gonna keep you. After you call them out, you yelled in the room, everybody heard you, and you're like, you know what? I'm gonna stay. Like, you cannot do that anymore. It's done. Like, it's absolutely done. So we need to in that position. Imagine on Mercato if we never qualify for Champions League. Well, non-existent, like right now. It's non-existent as well. Probably would have sold more players we didn't want to sell. As well, the players we want to sell. We have a lot of players for sale, but who the hell is going... Like, that's my point. When we talk about these players and people are like, oh, but he can do a job and McKennie is good enough and this and that. These players have no offers. How bad must they be that they have no offers? And you're trying to convince me they're good enough to play for this club? That's actually insane. Some of these players do not even have offers from the most random teams. And I need to believe, you know what? These players are actually good enough to stay at this club. To me, that makes no sense. Because if these players were good enough to play for Juve, they would have had offers from other clubs. They don't have offers. Chico's clause kicks in by Wednesday, and we have no idea if he goes or stays. The Sancho saga is beyond ridiculous. I fully agree. Do we really need 1 million plus Valencia on Costa to buy 2 wingers? Yeah, apparently, but I cannot believe that. Like, I just can't. I refuse to believe that. If we need 1 million euros, you know what? Do not keep Kostic. Move out Rugani. There is your 1 million euro, I guess. Move these players out. Move Perin out. He wants to play. There is your 1 million euros. If you actually need that money, if you need 1 million euros, like that, I refuse to believe that. We have the exact same problem with Manu. They can sell either, but our players are even shittier. If we're being honest, yeah, they're in the Premier League. For them, it's a bit more easy to move out these players, but for us, it's not easy because who like we do not rate these players. Excuse me. We do not rate these players. Like imagine, you know what's insane? For example, I was watching because when Timothy Weah was linked to Nottingham Forest, I watched a YouTube channel from a Nottingham Forest Nottingham Forest channel. They didn't want Timothy Weah. Nottingham Forest didn't want Timothy Weah. Nottingham Forest fans didn't want Timothy Weah. Nottingham Forest fans have higher standards than certain Juve fans who want Timothy Weah at the club because he can do a job. If he can do a job for Juve, surely he can do a job for Nottingham Forest. When you have Nottingham Forest fan looking at Timothy Weah and saying he adds nothing to a team, how do I, as a Juve fan, need to be like, actually add something to Juve? The moment you agree with the fact that Kostic and Timothy Weah and those players add something to a club like Juve, you made peace with the fact that we're not a top club anymore. You shouldn't complain if we don't win, and you're just happy with just being top four, basically. That's how I'm viewing it right now. You cannot like these players or say these players are good enough and then turn around and be like, man, we're not a good club. That's part of the issue because we have these players. That's why we're not a good club on the pitch. Off the pitch is a different thing. But on the pitch, if you play with players like Timothy Weah and Kelly and Nico Gonzalez who are not performing, this is what you're gonna get. There's no ifs and buts. That's what you're gonna get. When you play average players or players who are not good enough, well, you're not gonna be good enough. For me, it's a very simple concept. I don't understand why people make it that complicated. Like, if you're not good enough, you're not good enough. Albanese said the club is trying to build a squad this summer to challenge for the Scudetto. Yeah, he can say whatever he wants. We have all of eyes. We're not building a squad to win or challenge for the Scudetto. It's impossible. People smash the like button and subscribe to the channel as well. You think we should give that Ardino guy from the crypto company or something a chance? I mean, as a fan, I don't want to really discuss it because I don't know the ins and outs of it. I don't know how it works. They bought more shares. Like when you have an investor tweeting, I mean that I don't think that's a way to convince Alcon to give you a say in the club as well. Like that seems unprofessional. I don't think that's gonna work. But yeah, they have money. They want to spend money, but I don't think it's that easy. If I'm being completely honest. And as a fan, I actually shouldn't be we shouldn't even care about money. We shouldn't care about Plus Valenza. That's only I don't remember talking about Plus Valenza. The first time I'm not gonna lie, the first time I really spoke, or the first time I really was like, Plus Valenza is a thing, is the summer of Spinazzola. That's when it hit me, and I was like, man, Plus Valenza, what the hell really is that? And since then, that's what we're talking about. As a fan, I don't want to talk about it. We shouldn't be talking about it. But right now, we're talking about, we can make a 2-3 million profit on Alberto Costa. Okay. Like, okay, good. I guess. I don't know. What are you going to do with that 2 million euros? So we need 2 million euros. Let's say we need 2 million euros for Alberto Costa. You wake up tomorrow being Comolli, Sporting, like, you know what, we're paying you that money. You're like, we got 2 million extra. Now we sign Chico. And then what? You're stuck again? I mean, that's a bad situation, right? That's a very bad situation in my opinion. That cannot be true. How bad a financial situation we are potentially. 2-3 million shouldn't be a difference maker. That's actually mental. That's actually crazy if that actually is the case, that we need 2-3 million to get one deal over the line. To me, that makes no sense, if I'm being completely honest. Yeah, I just saw the Alberto Costa news. I think we will make about 3 to 4 million euros profit on him. I don't get it. I don't get it really. So we made 3 to 4 million euro profit on Alberto Costa, but now you're gonna need to replace Alberto Costa. That's gonna cost you more money, right? And even if you move Cambiasso to the right, you're gonna need to do something on the left. So it stays the same. It's gonna cost you more money. That's why the story is not adding up. Starting from tomorrow, and that's in about half an hour from now. It's tomorrow. It's Monday in Europe, or what I'm at actually. Um, we need to get proper news. We need to get players or news of the club told these players leave, find a new team. You're not being don't report for preseason. Basically, don't show up. Leave. These reports are need to come out. 2 weeks have passed and we have done nothing. Yes, you signed Jonathan David, but that's the bare minimum because Vlahovic you're pushing out and Milik is probably, hopefully, out of the door as well. And you didn't know if you're gonna get Colomani or whatever. So yeah, you signed a free agent, UP. But other than that, you haven't done much. And 2 weeks are in. We're in 2 weeks. And you had time even at the Club World Cup because we had an extra transfer season and we didn't do anything about it because nobody was in charge at that time. Now we're 2 weeks in and we've absolutely done nothing again still. I don't get it. How the F did we spend close to 40 million for Gonzalez? Still can get my head around it. For all the others, there's a case made, but for him, yeah, we overpaid. But I also need to say he's been asked to do things that he's never going to be good at. He cannot carry the ball. He's not that type of player. So you can ask him to do that 200 times. It's going to look bad 200 times out of the 200 times. So that's that. Now, if Tudor is like, I don't need those type of players, then yeah, you need to move him on, obviously. If he's like, yeah, I want a runner, in the box, whatever, not picking up the ball from deep-ish, then fine. You maybe can make it work. But if not, when it comes to Tudor, and tomorrow I'm going to record a video with Julian again, and we're going to talk about Tudor, what he actually wants from players. Certain players do not suit him. So if we are getting linked with certain players, even if you don't like the profile, Xhaka, for example, Andre from Wolves, maybe you don't like the profile, but those are the profiles Tudor wants, needs. Now that goes back to my previous video. It's like, I might not agree with the names, but if you're going to back Tudor, you need to help him out. You cannot say, we back Tudor and you're like, you know what? We're going to give you more Douglas Luiz type of footballers. It's not like you can like these players as a club, but if the coach doesn't like these players and is forced to play those players, he's going to force them to play positions they cannot play. And it's going to look bad. You're going to waste money. At that stage, do not waste money and just keep it moving. Or keep the players you have at this stage and do not waste any money. The club like Italian and former Juve manager, why didn't he go for Maresca? I don't know. We went for Motta, they went for Maresca. So yeah. How long do we have to wait until we can spend money like the Cristiano market? Quite some time. quite some. I don't have a time frame to be honest, but quite some time. We're miles. We won like 6 or 7 leagues in a row before we signed him. Was it 6? Played Champions League final. Like we were in Europe consistently, winning the league. Like the money was just coming in. You signed Ronaldo, the sponsorships went up. Like obviously the C thing happened. I cannot say it, otherwise YouTube will take the video potentially down. And the money dropped a little bit, but at the time we generated more money from sponsorships, from the stadium, from winning games, winning trophies. So different time, and there were more securities. You always could bank on Champions League and the next round of the Champions League. You could always calculate on that money. Basically, you can always envision having that amount, that type of money in the squad, which is not the case right now. So difficult. They're so average, man, and we have an average squad, so it's going to be an average result. Yeah, right now the squad is what it is, and they show who they are, and you need to quote unquote accept it, because what else are you going to do? Like, you cannot say we're going to have a good season just because it's a new season. It's the same thing. Nothing really has changed. So You need to go off that basis and say, actually, what happened last season is what's going to happen upcoming season. If we don't make many changes, it is what it is. Simple math, in my opinion. Simple math. I would have preferred any manager to Tudor, even Marco Silva. Honestly, I mean, you're not in the minority when it comes to that. I think a lot of people would have preferred a different coach. I think, to be honest, we all did. I wouldn't say Marco Silva, but still, I think a lot of Juve fans prefer to have a different manager. You know, a manager with a winning past, I must say, as a coach, more experience at the top as well. But that's not the case right now. And yeah, I mean, Tudor is here. Like, I hope he succeeds, but I'm not going to be blind and say, oh, because he's here, I'm just going to say it's going to happen. It's going to succeed. We're going to win. That's not how it works. I wish, because at that point, all our players will be fantastic and we will be dominating because we believe these players are good enough. The club said, remember at the end of the season, we have a very good crop of players. We just need to convince them they're winning players. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, some of these players are not good. You can convince them, you can brainwash them, whatever. You can put some juju on them that they believe they're good. At the end of the day, if they go on the pitch and they cannot control a ball, they cannot make simple passes, whatever, it's going to be bad. You can do whatever you want mindset-wise on one player, fine, but not 10 players. So when the moment they said that at the end of the season, oh, we have a good squad actually, and we just need to convince certain players and tell them how good they are. That's what they were saying. I'm like, what are we even talking about? Like, you're not, coaching kids and telling them they're good and they're gonna believe and whatever. And you didn't win, whatever. You give it a good shot. This is real football. Like, you need quality. How are you gonna convince 12 players or 10 players, how many there are, that last season it was just in your head? Actually, you're not that bad. Change the mindset, and now you're gonna be good again. If it was that easy, you buy scrubs. You buy 20 scrubs for 1 million combined, and you tell them they're good, and they're gonna go out there and they're gonna be good. It doesn't work like that. So the club thinking like that is actually depressing. Not gonna lie. Did you see the Tegnozzi to Juve? I saw it, but at this point, I don't care. I don't care. The sporting director, it's too late. It's gonna have no impact on the market. So I wish they're not wasting any time on that. To be honest, if he's coming in September, think about it in September when the transfer window is closed. I hope they're not wasting any time on picking the sporting director because it's already too late. Waste of time in September when you don't need to think about transfers. That's how I'm looking at it. And at this point, I don't care who he is. Whoever comes in needs to do a good job. I, as a fan, shouldn't really care about who the sporting director is going to be. Yeah. Okay, people. I think I'm gonna wrap it up because, like I said, I can talk and talk, but there's no real news. Actually, there's no real news. Hopefully tomorrow something pops up, and actually I'm hoping on outgoings at this moment in time, because the incomings are what it is. We're in talks for Colomani, Conceicao, and Sancho, and whatever. But we need also some news on the outgoings, like real news about offers, about talks. And maybe now the Club World Cup is done, things start moving again, and people are making decisions. I don't know, but these things are going to need to happen, the outgoings, because, yeah, we have too many players who shouldn't be here, and the club is trying to move on, but there's no news surrounding those players. So it's extremely worrying to a point where it's like, okay, it's 2 weeks in. Next week, it's 3 weeks in. And if there's still no news, then what the hell are we going to do as a club going into next season? Because this team is poor. It's poor. And a lot of these players shouldn't be here. So let's see. Hopefully, there is something real tomorrow and something positive as well. Something we can really talk about and something that will benefit the club and improve us as a club. Not, sideways steps. Nico Shira, non-news. Do I need to check then if it's non-news? I will check. If you just retweeted an old tweet, I'm going to lose it. Despite the rumors, Juve and Inter have not opened talks to sign Granit Xhaka. Yeah, okay. So you're right. Non-news. Giovanni Albanese lied. That's the news, I think. Anyways, people, I'm going to wrap this one up. Thanks for tuning in. Like the video, as always. Subscribe to the channel. Hopefully, next week, there's more news. Also, I think next week until Thursday, I can do regular lives, and then I'm going on holiday for 2 weeks to Italy. So I need to figure out how I'm going to do lives for 2 weeks after that. Hopefully, the Wi-Fi is okay, so I can do lives and pick it up from time to time. But if not, there will always be daily updates and whatnot. But hopefully, I open the newspapers up tomorrow, and there's a snippet of maybe Douglas Luiz might leave to I don't know, name the team, and then during the day, you know what, credible sources come out saying actually that's real. Douglas Luiz or Nico Gonzalez or McKennie or Kelly or whatever, name it. Aren't Vlahovic, for example, are in talks with those clubs, or those clubs are willing to offer this, and this. Because if we are trying to sell players at the same pace we're trying to sign players, we need not 2 months, we need 2 years of an open transfer window to make that happen. Anyways, people, that's it for me. Again, thanks for watching. Stay safe, and I'll speak to you guys tomorrow.